Welcome back. So in the last video we saw one way to pass data via the URL in our HTTP request of our RESTful web service. So what is this called? RESTful web service, where one URL is getting mapped to a method in a particular class. So we saw one way to pass the data, that is with the help of request param, where we pass it with question mark and then query parameter key value pair and ampersand key value pair and ampersand it continues. So in this video we will look at another way to do the same thing. So let's say I have a method now, public double, and I have to, let's say, subtract. Now I will put the annotation as get mapping, and this time the URL will be slash subtract or slash sub, doesn't matter. And what I want is I want to pass double num1 comma double num2, and here we will say logic double result equal to null, and then if we will say if num1 is greater than num2, then we will say return, then we will say result is equal to num1 minus num2 to avoid. Now this will be result is equal to num1 minus num2. Else we will say result is equal to num2 minus num1, and at the end we will just return the result. So return result. Perfect. But now we have one option to get the values from our postman or from the browser is by request param with question mark and key value pair ampersand key value pair. But I want to do it in a different way. That is called path variable. So here we did it with the help of request param. Here we will say map the values of URL to Java variables by path variable method. So for that what we have to do? We have to put a slash here, put curly braces, and make sure to use the same variable here. So I will use like this and put it here. And if there is another one, then I will again do slash and then curly braces and put this one here. Okay. And now I have to put an annotation of Spring Boot called @path variable. And here I can say num1. What I have to say? Num1. And this should map to this one. So here it can be different. So here it can be 111 and here it can be 111. But this can be different. So this will map to this one and take its value and put it here. Or it can be also same. So I can say another annotation, another one here as @path variable. And here, because here the name is num2, I will copy this and this should be placed here num2, and then this should be num2. So now how will our URL look like? So our URL will also change. So let me click here and click on duplicate. So it's going to duplicate me. So here calculator, and I will say sub, and now instead of question mark this, I will get rid of all this and I will pass the first value like slash, and let's say it is 4.8. So this is going to get, this is the first value, so it will come here and get assigned to here and then assigned to here and then assigned to here. So here it will come first value. Is there a second value? Yes, there is a second value. So again slash 9.7. Is there a third value? If there is, then you can continue to give like slash. So now here we are passing the value which we need in our function in the URL path itself. So that's why we are calling path variable. So let's go ahead and start our server in the debug mode. Make sure you have selected this one. And now we will see if it is stopping or not. So let it start. So it is starting up here. Let's see. So it says starting up. So it says started. Perfect. Now I will put a debugger within the function between these brackets of the function. So this is the executable, first executable line. I want to print it. Put the debugger here by clicking left click once on my mouse. Now if I go here and say send, now the debugger stopped here. It did not stop here because the URL mapping is different and the values are different. And the URL debugger stopped and this value got assigned here and the value came here. So let's check. So it's 4.8. That is the first value that is coming in the URL after slash sub, that value. And the second value will go to num2. So num2, here path variable num2, and it will get assigned to num2, again 9.7. So it is a good practice to keep this variable name same as this variable and this variable. I just wanted to show you it can be different also. So now we got variable values as num1 and num2. So how can you debug now? So you can click on, if you hover this, it says step over, and this one it says step into. This is force step into and this is out of the function. So we are, if we want to enter inside a function call, then we can use this one, otherwise we can use this one. And if we want to terminate the program, then we can click on resume. It will not terminate the program, this debug will terminate. If I want to terminate by keeping a debug point here, if I resume, then it will stop here before it will, the processor or the execution will come here. But I want to show you by going line by line. So I will click here. So here it says, what is the value of num1? 4.8. Hover here on the num2. What is the value? 9.7. So we can also evaluate this. So select everything inside the if block. So select everything inside the if block. Make sure that you are on this line when you are selecting. Right click and then click on evaluate expression. Let's see what this executes. So click here evaluate. So it says false, which means our flow will come into else part. So go next. So here it says num2 minus num1. So again we can click here and evaluate. Right click. So we can see, we have to first select this. Right click, evaluate, num2 minus num1, evaluate. So it says 4.899. Let's go next. And you see the value of the result will be this. And if we resume now, the control will go back and here we got the data. So let's say if I click like this and now it's here, I don't want to go next. If I click this, so it directly stops here because there is another here debug point here. And if I have to now again resume programs to terminate this particular debug flow, because the program won't terminate, it is running. So it gives me the same result. Alright, so what we learned here, that there is another way to pass the data from the client, which is Postman, to the server, which is this Spring Boot. And that's what we have seen in our picture. So one way was with request param, another way with the path variable. Is there another way to do that? Yes. Why not? But can we combine them together? Yes, why not? So I can also do like this. I can use here one request param, and with slash I can also say num3, and I can keep a path variable here as num3. Anything can be combined. So let me show you this at the rate path variable, and here I have to mention this thing num3. Copy this, paste it here, and now I can say double num3. Let me break this here by hitting an enter. So you will see now if I go and try to debug and run my program and try to hit the first link, then it will stop here. So let's, yeah, so this is complaining because we have to pass another field now. This is just our dummy value, dummy main method, because we modified the method syntax here. Hence the calculate main is also asking us to modify. So now put on debugger. So let it start, and then we will see the magic. So now if we check the console, it is starting up the server. Yes. So it has started. Perfect. Now we will go to our first endpoint, and if we try to now hit, nothing will happen. It says I did not find any mapping endpoint. So there is no mapping endpoint with this one. Is it true? Yes, that is true, because now it has become add slash something. So let's go and add here. Add and then slash something. So we say 99. If I now hit, yes, now it works. So let's check. The value of num1 is 6.9. Is it 6.9? Yes, it's 6.9. Value of num2, it says 1.8. Is it 1.8? Yes, it is 1.8. Num2 is 1.8 with a request param. Third one, which is coming via path variable. Let's check. Yes, it is 99. So let's check. Is it 99? So we will not find it here because it is not going as request param. It is going as path variable. So we will find it here after add and then slash. That's where we have given. Can I have after anything after this? Yes, why not? We can have something else here, but accordingly you have to modify your path URL here as well. Otherwise it won't recognize. So now if I resume, the program gives us the output because we are not using this num3. Which means what we learned is we can combine request param and path variable to make our RESTful API endpoints. No one is going to stop it from doing us that. So hope this concept of passing the data from the client to the server via get mapping using request param and path variable is clear to you, and you can now play around this. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you in the next video.